So here we are at Good Friday. In Matthew chapter 27, it says this, "From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came all over the land. About 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of those standing there heard this, they said, "He's calling Elijah." Immediately one of them ran and got a sponge and filled it with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus to drink. The rest said, "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to save him." And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. I think those words there are powerful. He gave up his spirit. Jesus gave his life so that we can have life. And then it goes on in the scripture to say that when he died, there was an earthquake, and the temple curtain that separated the people from the Holy of Holies was torn in two. How much more clear can God be at saying that which has separated us in relationship through Christ has now been ripped in two? And Jesus died for you. He made this sacrifice for those you love. He made this sacrifice for those you may not even like. And not just for you and me and all humanity, but for all creation. All creation is hinging on this hope that through Christ's death, what sin and suffering and violence and injustice and all the evil of this world, of which my own sin makes me a part, on the cross, it was all put on him, making it just as if we had never sinned, making it possible for reconciliation and all things being made right. And so on this day, this that we call Good Friday, make it good, making time to reflect on who Christ is and what he did. See in his death the hope he gives us through him for life now and forever. I encourage you just to let that thought, maybe have this breath prayer, be your prayer all day long. As you go through this day, he gave up his spirit. Jesus, you gave up your spirit. You gave up your spirit for me. What if we would just make that a breath prayer all day long? You gave up your spirit for me. You gave up your spirit for the world. You gave up your spirit for those I love. You gave up your spirit for those I don't even want to like. You gave up your spirit for me. What if we just made that our breath prayer as we go about this day? And in that way, constantly letting our thoughts and our minds and our hearts being turned to his sacrifice. Because that day on the cross started something that will forever change everything.